How you doing, brothers? The occasional sister. This is a survival video, although right now I'm in the main street of Mapua. That's Aranui Road there, and right beside me is a fruit and veg shop. And I found this table here, and I actually found some apples someone had left on it, but I also bought myself a nice pear, and I've just started to peel this grapefruit, and I've got a peach and a nectarine. So I'm surviving very well, but I wanted to have a talk to you about survival because it's something I'm into, and we can tolerate the noisy traffic. Oh, that's a cool car. I should have filmed that. Hold on, I'll spin around and show you. Now see it? It's going to just pop through here. Listen to that V8. Oh, mate. Beautiful. There's a few around. If there's any more of those beasts, I'll show you one. I'll let you know. Pretty much survival is something that we're all doing all the time. So we're doing it in our day-to-day life. We're doing it when we're driving our car. We're doing it in relationships. We're doing it in our job. So survival's not just going into the wild and surviving. But I do want to talk about going in the wild and surviving because it's something I'm really passionate about. And it's something that I started doing when I was really tiny, like 5 years of age. I would go away for a day trip. I'd go away and I might pack a lunch, and I'd take my pocket knife, was about the only thing I used to take. And often I'd make a hut for shelter, and I'd find water in different places. Surprisingly, I never ever got giardia, even though I used to drink the water in the Abel Tasman National Park. I grew up drinking that water, and I still drink it today, and I've never had it. And tourists come over here and they get sick straight away if they drink it. So I don't know whether you build up an immunity or if it's just pure luck. Don't know. Doesn't really matter. I guess I've been lucky, because let's face it, you can't have a iron clad gut for those organisms that are going to make you sick. If they're there, they'll get you sooner or later. So I'd say a bit more luck. This beautiful red grapefruit, what a bloody cracker. So one of the things that people have asked me over the years when I've done my little camps and trips away, and that's all they are, is they're just camping. Let's be honest. I'm doing it close to home, and I've got my phone with me, so they're not true survival. They're survival exercises. Although I have been in a true survival situation before, but these ones that I post on YouTube on my other channel, they are just survival exercises to teach and educate people on the things you could do if you're in that situation. How you might make fire, how you might make a shelter, how you might find water in an alternative way, how you might make a knife out of a stone. And we've got a lot of resources in New Zealand for doing things like that. One of the stones we've got, stone which is what the Maori uses, argillite, and it's a really, really hard stone. You can't really nap it like they do in those American survival videos where you tap, tap, tap. You've got to smash the hell out of it just to break it, because it's really, really, really tough. People ask me, what would be the one thing you would take away on a survival mission if you could choose one thing? And I put that to you. If you had one thing to take, well, it would depend on the time of the year, because if it was the winter, it definitely would be a sleeping bag. Because in the winter, in the middle of nowhere, keeping warm at night is the hardest way to survive, or the hardest challenge you've got. And having a sleeping bag around you is something which, once you've built your shelter, you can get inside and at least you can keep warm, because just trying to keep warm takes so much energy. And to create energy, you need food. And during the day, you're not going to find food generally. Oh, it looks all good and well while I'm doing one in the summer, but my winter survival video, which I did last year, which was on an island close by to here, and it was just an exercise. I was lucky that I could spare flounder, and I ended up sparing an eagle ray, but I may not have too, and then I would have gone hungry for 4 or 5 days, and keeping warm would have been really difficult. I didn't take a sleeping bag, but I took really thick clothing, and I chose that for that reason, because I knew how hard it is keeping warm. But to get back to what would be the one thing you would take, well, in the winter it definitely would be a sleeping bag, but overall, if you had your sleep already sorted, would there be something else you'd take? A lot of you are saying probably in your mind, I'd take a rifle, I'd take a knife, I'd take a cell phone so I could contact somebody for help. That'd be good. But for something to actually use in the environment to survive, what would it be? And for me, every time it always comes back to, once I've got the shelter, it's then about the food, and more importantly than the food is the water. Because I can go for days, I can go for weeks without food. I can survive probably up to 30, even maybe 40 days without eating food. I might, by the end of 40 days, be pretty much needing hospital and needing to have a subcutaneous fluid put into my body and rehydrate me and get all my electrolytes back. But without water, 3 or 4 days max. And without sleep, 3 or 4 days max. You try going without sleep. So once you've got the sleep sorted, then you want the water. And the thing about the water is you need a way to contain it, and you need a way to make it safe. Now, I can make fire easy enough now, even when I'm sitting right here with these trees around me. There's enough wood hanging up in these trees for me to take 2 pieces, and there's enough tinder. I could make fire within probably 3 hours of sitting just here looking around with what there is. There's stones over there. I know how to make a cordage. There's enough flax just over here. So there's all the flax I need over there. Harakiki. Any number of these trees that have got a bit of dead wood up in them, I could make fire with, using either the traditional method of bow drill, which is probably the easiest. I just need one piece of wood that's dead to break, or I might make a trough. A trough in the wood is for a plough. So you've got your wood and you trough it out, or you do a carve and then you plough through it. That's actually a really quick way to make fire, and probably the fastest and easiest way, but it takes the most expenditure of energy, and you've got to be really, really strong to do that. And I've only ever managed to achieve fire once in all the times I've done it, but it's doable. So there's the fire, but what are you going to do to make your water safe and gather it in? And this is where it comes down to. People say, what would be the item you'd take? Well, outside the sleeping bag in winter, for anywhere generally, the one item that would be the most important item to take would be a tin pot. Not a knife, not a rifle, not a bow, not a torch, not a fire making mechanism like a cigarette lighter. It would be a tin pot. And most survivalists, you don't hear them talk about that, but a tin pot gives you something you can make your water sanitary. You can boil your water in it, you can contain your water, but you've also got something to cook your food. So if you kill a rat or a hedgehog or a hare or a rabbit or a possum, you straight away got something to put in the pot and to break down and make it edible. Meat by itself takes a lot of energy to digest when it's raw. Fish, no problem at all. Fish just as easy as it is cooked, pretty much. But the energy it takes to break down internal organs of an animal is really difficult. And on that note, the internal organ you're going to go for every time with the animal is going to be the liver. It's going to be your first one you're going to go for. The liver of a deer has everything you need to sustain yourself for a whole day. It's got all the nutrients that you need. And then you go for the heart and the kidneys, the brains for your omega-3, your EPA and your DHA. Brains are really, really good. The eyes, the fat behind the eyes. The last thing you're going to go for is the actual meat of the animal, because the meat of the animal, whilst it's got some protein, what you're wanting is you're wanting all those nutrients. And it's got a lot of nutrients in the meat, but there's more in the internal organs. And that's why the carnivore diet is pretty much, or should at least be, about eating a lot of organ meat, which is a diet that's actually been proven to be very good for autoimmune problems, and a lot of people do very well on it. We still don't know what the long-term effects of a carnivore diet, because it hasn't been fully researched, because it has, but there's not a lot of papers on it. But definitely when you're in a survival situation, it should go to every time. It's a quick bang for your buck, for your fats, your oils, your nutrients, and even your vitamins you're going to get in the liver. You're even going to get, I believe, now someone prove me wrong on this, or quote me wrong if you can do the research on Google, but I'm pretty sure you're even going to get vitamin C in the liver. I might be wrong on that, and I'm prepared to be wrong, but I've got a funny feeling you're going to even get vitamin C in there. You're definitely going to get vitamin A, and you're going to get your omegas. So that's what you need. You need a pot to survive. So that's Clay's 2 cents worth. Right, I'm going to tear into this lovely bit of grapefruit, and then I've got the nectarine, and then I've got the peach. And all of these fruits also grow in the wild in New Zealand. I know where there's a tree that's got black boy peaches on it, only like 6k from here, and the reason they grow wild is because people driving along in their cars throw them out the window, and the pip grows, chew that, finish it, out the window, and a pear tree grows. And there's places throughout the country in New Zealand where you'll find wild fruits that aren't indigenous to New Zealand. And I've done a couple of adventures where I've gone and I've actually found just that. In fact, if you really look closely, the best place you're going to find wild fruit trees is generally on the side of the road, because that's where people throw them out of their cars or their bikes and they go and buy. Because let's face it, the pip of this is biodegradable, it's going to break down, does no harm to the environment, and if it gets enough sunlight and enough water, and it survives birds and everything else, it just might grow into a tree, and that's what happens. And I think one of the places in New Zealand where there's a lot of Central Otago, I'm not sure if they, sometimes I think they've almost been planted down there, there's that many of them. Anyway, brothers and the occasional sister, just a bro check video on survival. I hope you're surviving well, whatever you're doing, whatever's happening, in health, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and getting plenty of the good tucker for this summer. I love grapefruit, one of my favourites. Go. So long as I don't choke on it, go steady. I'll see you in the next Project Club video. See you later. I'll be back on the bike very soon, pumping up the hills.